I've spent my 20s being sexually liberated. Countless hookups, short flings, and only two serious relationships, both lasting under a year. It did not make me feel free or empowered. It left me feeling empty. Liberal feminism and the sexual revolution sold us empowerment through casual sex with guys who don't care. We were sold the idea that sleeping around would make us confident and fulfilled. But look at where we are now. Women's happiness has plummeted since the 1970s, according to studies like the paradox of declining female happiness. According to the Institute for Family Studies, people who have only ever slept with their spouse report the highest level of marital happiness. Women with a higher number of partners are more likely to end up divorced. At Middlebury College, a study on hookup culture found that 100% of interviewed women preferred committed relationships. Only 8% of those in pseudo-relationships, i.e. friends with benefits, were actually happy. Bottom line, most women crave depth, not drama. How did we get here? It kicked off in 1951 when chemist Carl Djerassi created the first oral contraceptive in Mexico. Developed by Gregory Goodwin Pincus and Frank B. Colton, Onovid hit the US market in 1960 as the first FDA-approved birth control pill. Sure, it was good for family planning, but the sexual revolution of the 1960s reshaped how sex was viewed. Abortion was legalized in the UK in 1967. In America, it was legalized in 1973, with support from figures like Hugh Hefner and Larry Ladder. This made it easier for sex to be separated from long-term consequences. And we can't ignore the darker history either. Margaret Sanger, a pioneer of birth control, had ties to eugenics, a racist ideology focused on controlling who reproduces. Now, I'm not against birth control. I also understand why abortion needs to be legal, to protect women from dangerous backstreet procedures. Large numbers of women in developing countries still die from unsafe abortions each year, and that's not okay. But once the risk of pregnancy was mostly removed, the entire dynamic shifted. Sex stopped being about commitment and became an expectation. Saying no became harder. If I hadn't been on birth control, I probably wouldn't have had as many sexual partners. So has birth control truly liberated us, or has it made life harder? Enter Helen Gurley Brown, Cosmopolitan's editor-in-chief for 32 years. Her 1962 bestseller, Sex and the Single Girl, inspired one of my favorite shows, Sex and the City. Slogans like "Good girls go to heaven, bad girls go everywhere" glamorized single girl fun. She called herself a feminist and pioneered sex-positive feminism, celebrating promiscuity and financial independence. But other feminists, like Betty Friedan and Kate Millett, criticized her for objectifying women. Brown sold the myth of having it all, that women could have careers and husbands. She herself was married for 51 years, so she promoted sexual freedom while also enjoying, eventually, long-term marital stability. Modern women are exhausted from working like men and sleeping around like men. Brown would probably have loved OnlyFans, while modern feminists condemn it as patriarchal exploitation. If a woman wants to be sexy for men, that's her choice. I support decriminalizing sex work largely to protect sex workers. But feminism sends mixed messages. Be empowered, followed by don't buy into the male gaze. Most women want to feel desired, usually by one man who actually cares and sticks around. Sleeping with men who disappear the next day isn't empowerment, it's draining. Both men and women release oxytocin during sex, the bonding hormone that creates emotional closeness. In women, estrogen also plays a role, often intensifying emotional attachment. In men, vasopressin is more strongly linked to bonding, protectiveness, and pair bonding in many studies. After orgasm, men experience a larger prolactin surge, which signals satisfaction and contributes to the refractory period, that mission accomplished feeling. Higher baseline testosterone can also make it easier for men to focus on the physical side of sex rather than emotional attachment. That's why it can often be harder for women to keep sex purely physical without developing feelings. Evolution wired men and women differently. Even today, dating coaches still advise letting men pursue, invest, and commit first. Some strands of feminism claim men and women are identical, but gender is not a social construct, it's biological. I understand why religion once promoted sex within marriage. I don't support the shame or fear attached to it, but it existed for a reason. It protected women in a world where we carry most of the physical and emotional risk. Keeping sex within marriage stabilized families and society. The sexual revolution didn't liberate women, it exhausted us. We crave commitment, yet culture pushes instant gratification. If you're an attractive woman living in a big city like London, casual sex is easy. Finding genuine commitment is not. It's incredibly easy for women to rack up sexual partners and much harder to find a man who truly wants to build something long-lasting. But what do you think? Has the sexual revolution been good or bad for women? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more content.